Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. um, hope everyone had a good weekend. Um, if you do celebrate the Easter thing, I hope you had a good Sunday. Um, I have my statements I think I've made about Easter before. Um, not judging anybody that does celebrate Easter, and I'm not talking about the pagan history that may or may not have. I don't care necessarily because what you're celebrating isn't pagan. What you're celebrating is him. So I can't get mad at that. And we're not even going to be talking about the eggs or the bunny or any of that stuff either. Not the commercialization of it. We're not even talking about that. Um, what we are going to be talking about, uh, I don't think many people are looking at, um, and that is our expectation of people when it comes to Easter. That is what we're going to be talking about. The issue with our expectations of people when it comes to Easter. Um, we have a ton going on this weekend um, when it comes to how people are treating Easter. Um, SNL just recently had an episode, and their episode is now at let me tell you how where it's at. Uh, 3.9 million views, and in this skit, they mock Jesus, which typical for them, and then they try to introduce a caricature of President Trump in there to do the same thing. So let me ask a question: are you offended by that? Let me ask the obvious question: are you offended by it? Anyone? Is it offensive for them to do what they did, the mocking of Christ? Now, you may say, there's some that says no. Um, so I want you to look at this one, and you tell me if this one infuriates you as well. That's Easter, by the way. Okay, so let me ask a very valid question. Why are you offended? I have that question in mind for a reason. Why are you offended by it? Um, the reason I'm asking that is to ask a follow up question. What do you expect? What do we expect? Do we hear me out? Just honestly answer yourself this question. Do you honestly expect them to do anything other than? You see, if my expectation is low, I cannot be disappointed, nor can I really be offended. It is the job of the devil to do this. Is it not? Is it not the job of the devil to mock God? That's his job. Not only is his job, it's his nature. Not only is his nature, his people will do exactly that. That's what they do. Now, if I'm fully aware of that, and I know for a fact that the reason I'm celebrating Easter is my belief in God, why would I then expect other people to hold my belief to the same respect I do? We understand that friendship with the world is enmity with God, right? That means the whole thing with friendship with them. Meaning, if you're expecting them to somehow join your bandwagon for something that's God centric, you really don't understand the world. We honestly believe that our actions and our belief structure, they should want because it belongs to God. You have to remember they are against God. We cannot expect them to do that. Each one regards a day holy. You respect Easter. That is as far as he's expecting you to go. As a body, he wants you to come together to honor the blood and the body of Christ, not as the world. I think, unfortunately, what we have come to is an offense when the world does something, but an understanding when somebody in the body may do something. And you might think that's not true. But if it were not true, you would not see the kinds of churches you have now. Plenty of things that the church does is passed off as our preference under the guise of God. Plenty of things. And it doesn't get talked about. And if you do talk about it, you're touching God's anointed. We anticipate, want, try to think as though the world should respect the things of God, and they can't. This is why he doesn't ask you to be friends with them. This is why he doesn't ask you to be in and among them. He tells you to come out from among them. Now, we should draw attention to it. Why? Because there are still going to be people looking at that, thinking that that is a representation of who God is. We have to, for the sake of those who are seeking, call it out. But I don't call it out because I'm offended at what they're doing. Yes, it is blasphemous, no doubt. Yes, it is a shot across the bow at God. Yes, 100%. But it doesn't incriminate me, it incriminates them. It incriminates them. We do not yet, I think a lot of us don't really separate ourselves enough. Because if we were fully separated, one, what they do, they do. This is part of putting our foot down, okay? This is part of putting our foot down. I have decided, say, that I will not be tolerating certain things. Okay. And so, say, one of those things I will not tolerate is people coming into my house with a yellow shirt on. It's my house. I've decided that yellow is the one color, and on a shirt specifically is the one location I will not tolerate in my house. I have told people, I have signs on the outside, do not enter my home with a yellow shirt on. People look at me and they think, well, that's kind of dumb. It's a yellow shirt. It doesn't offend anybody. It offends me, and it's my house. When I step out the house, I don't expect people outside the house to not wear a yellow shirt. Outside of my home, it doesn't offend me. I expect people to do what they do in their own homes and out in public. But in my house, you're not wearing a yellow shirt walking through my doors. Nobody in my house wears a yellow shirt. But then someone shows up and says, but hold on, isn't that being discriminatory? Why can't people wear a yellow shirt in your house? They have the right to wear a yellow shirt. Yeah, they do have a right to wear a yellow shirt. But I own my house, and I say you do not come into my house with a yellow shirt on. But for me to go outside of my house and then start getting offended when I see a yellow shirt, or I get offended when somebody walks up to me in a yellow shirt, that would be ridiculous because it's not my house. Now, Somebody could go and build a house that looks like mine. Somebody decides they're going to build a house that looks like mine and puts my address on this fake house. And then I see people going in and out of this house with yellow shirts on. Should I get offended? Should I be offended by that person that built a house that looks like mine, inside and out, carbon copy, even has a plate with the address on it? It's not the address, but it has the address written on it. Doorway, gates, all of it exactly like my house. And they're allowing people to go in and out with yellow shirts. Should I be offended? And should I go over to that house and say, look, they're letting people with yellow shirts in to my house? It's not my house. But what I can say is, everybody, that's not my house. If you see this on video and you see that house, that is not my house, because I do not allow people with yellow shirts into my house. I'm calling out the hypocrisy. I'm calling out the blatant lie, but I'm not trying to stop them from doing it. That's their right. In fact, I expect them to mock me because it's a pretty unique thing I'm asking people to do. But it's still my house that I have. And I have a certain bunch of people that I have said to, yellow shirts not allowed. And they say, no problem. And they don't wear yellow shirts and they come into my house. I think we forget that even though people might try to look and act and pretend to be the body and pretend to be part of the house of God, they are not. And they may allow certain things like homosexual marriage, like in-house prostitution, like gambling. They may allow a whole bunch of stuff in that building that they call God's house. But it ain't God's house. I can tell people that's not God's house, because in God's house, those things are not allowed. But if they're allowing that stuff in God's house, then obviously it is not God's house, because he doesn't change, right? But when it comes to things like Easter, which is not a command to do, but you decide to pick it as a day that you remember the death, burial, and resurrection, you can't get mad at people using the same day, time, event to mock. Here's why: they are not following God. Their job is to mock. It's expected. It's expected. The whole weekend, the entire weekend, I sat thinking about this particular issue. Then I heard that the Dagon prince himself died. And he had just come to bless the those that were celebrating Easter and the Passovers and all that stuff he was doing and all that thing, you know. Um, and I could not help but wonder if in some people's minds that was a sign of some sorts. I can't attribute it to a sign. Um, but I can't um, be unhappy either for the end of one person that has been pushing blasphemy for his whole life. Um, whether he's been dead or not, the symbol of the Pope is dead now. And they're going to put another symbol of the Pope in his place. I believe, this is what I believe now, that next person that they're putting is more than likely going to be this is my prediction. I'm making a prediction for a change. It will be a much younger individual, young enough to sustain time frames to enable a certain event, and the ushering of a person that we've been looking for a while. Just my thought. Just my thought. The reason I'm bringing that up is because just like with a house that isn't God's, that approves of something, that is exactly what the Pope did. He was a person that pretended to be a representation of God and wasn't, like, at all. At all. But somehow some of us expected him to at least denounce. Like when we ask, why would the Pope allow, and why would the Pope allow, and this and that, and you've heard people ask that. Why wouldn't he, is my question. Expectation. Because he says he is one thing, we expect a certain behavior. Here's the problem with people that think just like you, that they expect a certain behavior. The behavior that they do give, they think is actually from God, which is why you see them following. They don't test anything against him because they don't know him. We see a bunch of stuff happening. Whether people agree that Easter is pagan or not pagan, or it was representing this person or that person, I will read to you again, or at least try to. Okay. And if you remember in Romans, right? We're going to read from Romans. And I want people to really, really, please listen to what it actually he says. Okay. In Romans 14, it says this. Okay, let me bring it up so you can see it. I think it's vital. I think it's vital. Receive one who is weak in the faith, but not to disputes over doubtful things. For one believes he may eat all things, but he who is weak eats only vegetables. Let not him who eats despise him who does not eat, and let not him who does not eat judge him who eats. For God has received them. Who are you to judge another man's servant? To his own master he stands or falls. Indeed, he will be made to stand, for God is able to make him stand. Now, some people will read that and see, so God will allow me to do anything because I'm strong. And you're just weak for not being able to accept certain things. There is a limit to that thought process, of course, because as long as it goes against his rules, law, it can't be something that you can say you can do because you're strong, because he will not allow you to do that thing because it's outside of his nature. So it's not a license to do sin because you think you're strong enough to, and whoever doesn't accept it is weak. That's not how that works. One person esteems one day above another. Another esteems every day alike. There are some that take Easter to celebrate the death, burial, resurrection of Christ. We understand that. But somebody else may say, no, this is a pagan thing, blah, blah, so they don't celebrate it. Some esteem some higher than the other. Let each be fully convinced in his own mind. He who observes the day observes it to the Lord. And if you observe something to the Lord, it has to be within the confines of his law. Not just saying, oh, I'm observing it to God, and you're doing crazy stuff like, oh, I'm going to go out and do multiple lines of cocaine to the Lord. I'm going to have a night of binging sex because it's to the Lord. That's not how that one works either. To the Lord means under his auspices, especially under his rules and laws. So no, it's not just going to apply to willy-nilly, randomly doing stupid stuff that's completely antithetical to his nature. Just want to make sure I put that out there. And he who does not observe the day, to the Lord he does not observe it. just like me. I don't do Christmas. I don't do Easter. I don't do either. Am I sinful because I don't celebrate Easter and Christmas? I'm not telling other people not to celebrate Christmas and Easter. They don't want to celebrate it, don't celebrate it. They want to celebrate it, celebrate it. As long as it's to the Lord. The only person you're being delusional to is you, not me. I ain't got nothing to do with your celebrations. I have nothing to do with your celebrations at all. You do you. If you're not doing it to God, you know who's going to figure that out? God. And I'm happy with that. I'm a rotten person either way, though, so and so. I'm a rotten person either way. He who eats to the Lord, for he gives thanks. And he who does not eat, to the Lord he does not eat, and gives thanks to God. Either way. For none of us lives to himself, because it's all to God. And no one dies to himself, it's to God. For if we live for the Lord. And if we die for the Lord. Therefore, whether we live or die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and rose and lived again, that he might be Lord of both the dead and the living. But why do you judge your brother? Or why do you show contempt for your brother? Now, mind you, your brother. Please contextualize everything, for we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. For it is written, as I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. Why are you going to judge your brother? And what does a brother do? He puts God first. If in his putting of God first, hear me out, if in his putting of God first, he has a day that he esteems above another person or another day, he is doing it to the Lord. The difference between what the pagans do and what the brethren do is to whom they do it. We know that their mocking is not to Christ. Their mocking is about Christ. What they're mocking is to the devil. So it can't offend me when the devil is being praised by his worshipers. It's what they're supposed to do. They worship him. They follow him. What do you expect them to do? Worship God? No. No. Which is why we can call the entities that promote homosexuality and paganism and all that stuff, we can call them what they are. Organizations that follow Satan. It's not contrarian. They may have things that, just like I said, that house, they can build their house to look and mimic and sound like, but it is not the house. Because in my house, that does not get allowed in. And if it's allowed in, it's obviously not my house. I'm just saying that if it is something you are honoring, the time of Easter, and in that time period, you are honoring the Lord for what you say is the day that you pick to remember his death, burial, resurrection, and salvation on a whole, it is between you and God, because you are fully convinced in your mind that it is to the Lord. Celebrating Easter because it's a holiday is something completely other, and expecting me to just follow in with it because is not Christian at all. Because for me, I do not esteem it a day of any importance, because in my life and heart, I listen and I remember all of that stuff on the daily. On the daily. I don't need a specific day for that. Nor do I need to know which day. I don't even need to know. Okay, for me, I don't care when he was born and I don't care when he died. I just care that he was born and I care that he died. After that, don't have a care in the world as to the exact time. Really don't care. I don't care when his birthday is. I just care that he was. If it's not specified to me in his word, it's obviously not of that importance. It's not that deep. It didn't tell me what day of the year, what month of the year, what time of the year he was crucified either, and it happened. It doesn't tell me any of that. Why should I make it important to me? But that's to me. To me. However, there are people who value the day of Christmas. They value the day of Easter for one very specific reason, and that is they honor it to the Lord. So I cannot tell them what kind of silly participating in pagan blah, 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 blah. They have made this to the Lord. They're not celebrating it by doing the eggs and the Easter hunts and all that, because that's not to the Lord, is it? No, because the Lord didn't have nothing to do with bunnies and eggs. Whenever I see a church deciding to do eggs and Easter hunts and all that stuff, as soon as they talk about Easter and they start talking about the bunnies and the egg, nope, I'm out. I'm out. I don't know what he has to do. What does he have to do with eggs? Oh, it's a fun activity for the kids. So now it's for the kids. Which one is it? Is Easter about the Lord or about how much fun the children can have? It's not about how much fun the kids can have. No one cares about how much fun the kids have on Easter. Oh, wow, we get to give them little baskets and they go pick up candy eggs and they talk about this bunny and they go talk to the bunny and they ask the bunny stuff. Come on, man. Come on. I can't honor that. No. It says to the Lord. Then they say, well, we're doing it so the children can get an idea about God. How are the eggs helping you get an idea about God? How is a plastic egg filled with candy? How? Be ye separate. Be a part of it. Why are you going back into it? I don't get it. But again, my expectation is that a church should be acting a certain way. But like I said, if the church is not actually his, I'm expecting too much. So the idea that I'm putting on them, I can't. Which is why I can easily tell people that this particular body of people, how I can tell that you're not following God and he is not really at the focal point of your body is by what you do. I can see that. That's pretty obvious. If you accept a certain thing that the book already completely denounces, but you want to say it's of God, I know that's not his house. It really is that simple. But when we get mad and upset about things that really don't have a place in his kingdom, because it is not
from the CIA running secret,
we believe at some point that it should be when it shouldn't. And we get upset at something that does not warrant our being upset. Test you again. It's going to continue. So let me ask again. Is this about the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ? Yes or no? Simple question. Is what you're seeing on screen a representation of the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. Yes or no? Okay? Is it yes or no? Is this right here, this particular thing, is that a representation of what most will consider Easter? Okay? No, right? Okay. So we know it's not a representation of anything godly. Perfect. We agree on this, right? I want to make sure we agree. Okay, good. So you should, by all metrics, agree that this is obviously not his body doing this, right? These are obviously not doing it to the Lord. Am I correct? Would it be correct to assume that this is not being done to the Lord? It might be at the Lord against God, but it is not to the Lord, right? Perfect. Why then would you expect at all anything different from the world? So should there be an offense, or should there be an expectation that the world will do this? He tell you, don't be surprised. The world hated me. They're going to hate you. Should you be offended that the world hates you? No, you should be excited that the world hates you because they hated him first, right? But somehow we're expecting them to not do this kind of stuff, which is why we're offended. You're offended because you're actually in some way, shape, form, or fashion expecting them not to do this. We don't want to admit that. We don't want to admit that we somehow, somewhere in the back of our psyche, expect the world to somehow fear God. But he told you that they don't. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And he's been telling you that the world is not filled with wisdom at all. I'm not offended by it. Here's what I am. And I'm not shocked either. I used to be. But when I realized that, hey, every man has to make their own decisions, it is only up to me to point it out as it's not of God. And then people can decide if they want to listen or not. But the reason I was really offended by it is because I genuinely thought that I was supposed to be offended on his behalf. But he told me that the world would hate him. He told me that. So should I be offended when he told me that it is like not only expected, but it should be a good sign that you're following me? If they hate me, they hated you. You're not above the master. It's a good sign to show that they're actually seeing Christ in you for them to hate you. If they've accepted you, there's something really wrong there. So our offense, our issue, the issue that I see with Easter right now, as with most of these celebrations, is that we put an onus on the world to act contrary to their nature. We cannot expect the world to appreciate, to embrace, to follow God if he's not their master. They follow their master and they will act accordingly. The same thing with any church that accepts this kind of stuff and pushes this kind of stuff and has the agenda of the devil. It's that I can easily tell you, yes, they are not brothers. It is not difficult for me to do that because I can see what they're doing. I'm not blind. Anybody, any meeting spot, any place that calls itself the church that has a pride flag, has anything to do with that type of debauchery, is not of God. Point blank, period. And I can say that with no problem. I can easily say that they're not believers. I can say out loud that they are not Christians. I can say that without, I'm not judging anybody. I am looking at what you're doing, what you accept, and I can tell which house you're a part of. It's not difficult for me. If God said, this is what we're not doing, and you say, God said this is what we're doing, when you can't show me where he says it, then obviously you are not following God. And I can easily say, you're not my brother. No, he does not. I don't know how this is. I understand that people want to leave doors open, but it's not my job to save them anyway. But I am the person that can look at fruit and decide what that fruit tells me. And it's pretty obvious to me. It's pretty, it's as clear as the nose is on my face and the hat is on my head. I think too many, though, are afraid to say it because they don't want to come across judgy. I'm okay with coming across judgy, especially when I'm applying rules that aren't mine. If I'm applying not my rules, his rules to you, don't get mad at what I'm saying, get mad at the rules, and in turn, talk to the person that put the rules down. Not me. I'm just telling you what the rules are. Don't come in here with that mess. It's pretty that simple. I don't know how else to explain it to you. And technically, you can't come in there with that mess. The bouncers at the door will not let you into the building. I have bouncers at the Yellow Shirt Church, and you cannot come into the church with a yellow shirt. The bouncers will not let you. In fact, I even have the doors coded to only have people and register you. If you walk to the door, it's an auto door, and it only opens to people not wearing yellow on their top. So it just lets you in. But as soon as you come with the yellow top, it doesn't let you in. You're not coming in. You're not part of this place. It's a pretty hard and fast rule. I don't know how else to tell you that. There's certain things not allowed. The instant you allow it, it tells me exactly what building you're a part of. It tells me what facility you have gone to. It tells me that you have created a false building, calling it something that it's not, and hoping people buy it. They're not going to buy it. If you celebrate Easter, good on you. That's up to you. Make sure that it is to God. No issues with that. If, however, you're celebrating Easter because you were told to celebrate Easter and eggs and baskets and all that stuff because it's such a holy day, and if you don't do it, then you're not Christian, then I dare say that you not or did not read the book properly to understand some things about how you deal with people. The reason that I don't have time to point out everything homosexual in the world because it's part of the world. The only time I will tackle it is when it comes to what people consider the body. You want to be gay, be gay. Ain't nobody stopping you from doing that. That's on you. You do what you do, bro. Look, I don't live your life. You want to have an abortion? Have the abortion. That's on you. That's why I pulled my hat out of things like that conversation. The world does what the world does. You cannot force them to accept morality. They're not moral. Do we grieve that they're killing kids? Yes. Who will they have to answer to? Not me. I can advise people that this is against God. It's murder. Can tell them all day long. They're still going to do it. But there are churches now saying that that is a good thing. It's a good thing. There are tons of pastors today that do that. Tons. Now, Mike,
Hello,
is it
Mark Barden here from Sandy Hook
godly?
Promise. On December
No.
14th, 2012.
But they sure believe it is. They try to pass it off as is. Look, I'll give you proof here. News.
KOAT Action 7 News live at 6.
In November, residents will decide whether to ban late-term abortions in Albuquerque.
Now a new group hopes it can sway voters. Action 7 News reporter Regina Reese joins us live.
Doug and Shelley, no doubt this is a hot button issue. The ACLU has denounced the proposed late-term abortion ban, calling it unconstitutional and a violation of women's privacy. But a group demonstrating in front of a clinic today disagrees.
Pregnancy is never the problem. It's the problems that surround pregnancy that is the problem.
Pastors gathered to be the voice for unborn babies.
This is one of the good ones, right?
My
Listen.
heart, because I had an abortion many years ago, and it's something that I've regretted all of my life.
So many years and so many ways.
Now, let me ask a simple question. Do you see churches doing this? Do you see churches doing this? Rarely. Rarely do you see churches doing this. The majority of big names, they want the abortion. They will promote it now. You'll only see these streetwalkers that talk about it. You won't see pastors hardly talking about it on the pulpit anymore. Why? Because a lot of them are doing it for one specific purpose. They don't want to touch that because in their minds, they lose what? People. They lose people. It is an insane thing. I'm going to have you listen to this one. Now, this one is a pastor confronted about it. Okay. This one's a pastor confronted about it. The reason I'm going into this is for a very specific
That's
purpose,
why I want
okay?
In November, there's going to be a ballot referendum. On the ballot in Maryland is a constitutional provision that would allow a woman through any stage in pregnancy for any reason to choose to end the life of the child. Are you going to vote yes to put that in the Maryland Constitution?
Any stage in pregnancy? So
up
where
to the
does
moment
that,
of birth, all 9 months for
so
any
as
reason.
long as the
Listen,
body of the baby is inside the vaginal canal, that's what we're talking about?
Yes, inside of the womb or inside of the vaginal canal. Were you going to say, are you going to vote, Ryan, Pastor Ryan's going to vote yes? Are you going to vote yes on that?
Oh, I've answered all these questions. My answer is I think that the mother should be allowed to choose.
So you're going to vote yes to put abortion up until the moment of birth in the Maryland Constitution.
I'm
in
going
November.
to vote yes to allow a mother to choose.
again, hear me out. Just bring the blood levels down just a little. What do you expect? What do you expect? We expect, this is what we partially expect, anybody wearing the name of pastor to be against abortion, right? You would think. And you cannot say he's not a pastor because he promotes abortion. He's still a pastor. He's just a caring person about women's rights. That's what they want you to do. However, the truth is, the instant you tell me that's what you support, the title of pastor no longer applies to you doing it to God. You're not doing it to the Lord. You're doing it to self, which means you're not a pastor. So I can easily say that. But we can't expect them to honor the things of Christ if they do not belong to Christ. I keep going back to the Cat Williams skit movie. I think it's a movie where his girlfriend came to visit and she has a white baby on her lap. And he says, "Whose white baby is that?" And she's like, "This is your baby." He's like, "Just because you name him Darren don't mean he belongs to Darren. That one might be mine." You know what I'm saying? Just because you name him Darren don't mean he belonged to Darren. That baby got a 730 credit score just sitting there. His prescriptions are very much grown. I've never seen a baby with that kind of prescription. Now, the understanding is I'm supposed to block my eyes, not believe what I'm seeing, because you tell me that you're representing God. There's a pastor next to my name. Just because you name yourself pastor don't mean that you belong to the Lord. Not everybody that says Lord, Lord will enter, right? But there are a bunch of them that say that they're doing it for him and they don't have any semblance of him. It's what they do, though. I look at what you do. I look at what you promote, and I decide right away, that's not God. It's pretty, cut and dry. That's not God. Okay, then there you go. So why would I try listening to you as a person that belongs to God? You're not of him. So I am going to judge you by your fruit, especially those that say they're of the household of faith. If you're saying that you are, and your actions say something else, I have to go by your actions. And your actions are giving me a blatant reminder that what you're saying doesn't match, and I don't believe you. And since I don't believe you, I don't give anything you're doing any credit, especially when it comes to the kingdom. I'm not doing that. And I will blatantly call you what I believe you are based on your actions, which is not for brother. You're not my brother. I'm not calling you a brother because you say I'm a Christian. That has nothing to do with you being a brother. And once I've put you in that category, nothing you do past that point will offend me because you're not representing my father. So it doesn't matter. Everything that he's ever talked about in terms of exposure begins in the house. The instant you see something awry, you say, and it's out. If there's even an inclination of it stopping, get it out of there. What you allow will eventually become a parasite of the kind that will no longer. You just won't. It'll be something. It'll become a plague after a while, and before too long, the title that you have will not resemble the person that was supposed to be the title's about. No, it's not. Now, I'm not judging you to death. I'm not judging nobody to hell. I'm judging you based on how I associate with you. That's what I'm judging people for, whether or not I associate with you. Oh, I'm definitely making that judgment call. 100%. I am going to judge. I'm judging the mess out of you. Yes. It will define whether or not I associate, have any affiliation, fellowship with you. Yeah, I am going to judge. Because I'm not judging you based on what I feel like. I'm judging you based on what he said. And if he says so, why am I trying to go against it? Obviously, if I say I follow him, I should take all of it, right? I should. It makes sense to me. Judge away. It's not like I'm just taking my randomized thought process and putting it on you. I'm taking what he said, matching it up to what you do. And if the two don't align, I have to pick one. I'm picking his side. So when we expect this much of people in Easter and the world, when it comes to Easter, considering that Easter has now become a holiday, including people who don't believe, we cannot expect, listen to me, we cannot expect the world to honor something godly God's way. We can't. It's an expectation that will always disappoint. Point blank, period. I don't have a topic tomorrow. Like I told people all the time, I don't jump the gun. The last few weeks have been kind of interesting for me. Some people say it's the season change. I don't know about all that, but it's been an interesting couple of weeks. I think part of it with being this empathy thing dropping down, and it's been weird, just weird. So, but I'm still going to wait to see what he drops. I have no idea yet. I may want to talk about the Pope some more because I think that's a big deal. And not for the reasons of what it means for the church. I think more along the lines of what it means for what people expect of the papacy. So we'll see. If he might double down on that. He might not, but we'll figure it out. Savage Patriots will be on today. We're going to be discussing that deported man to El Salvador. We were supposed to have Glenn with us, but a issue arose and he will not be available until the 5th, which is fine. The three of us can hold it down, no problem. So you won't get introduced to the new partner in crime until the 5th. Yeah, what we're going to do is try and get our YouTube audience back on track a little bit to get more of the subscriptions over to Rumble. We're not doing it for monetization, and we're not doing it for subs. We're doing it for reach to get more people to Rumble. So I don't really care what YouTube strikes, as long as it's not a strike to get rid of the channel. But if they do strike to get rid of the channel, then you'll know when you no longer see us. Okay? But we will be streaming on YouTube today. Yeah, he's a cool cat, man. He's a real nice guy. In fact, let me see here. Let's see if I can find his channel. I'll introduce you all this way. Let me find the best one here. All right, I'm going to introduce you all to Glenn in the best way I know how.
So
this is Glenn. And when I told you he was a black koi, I meant it. Bald and a beard. Black koi, otherwise known as Decoy. I'm sorry, but that's going to be his nickname, whether he likes it or not. It's Decoy.
So I do believe this is one of those videos that need to be made, especially when we have another hurricane heading into Florida. So a video was made by Congressman Wesley Hunt. Check this out. So
that is Glenn. His name is Decoy. I'm sorry, but it was just too good to be true. I didn't create it on my own. It evolved out of what was seen. I haven't told him that's his nickname yet, but like I said, whether he's down for it or not, tis Decoy. He speaks an awful lot like Koi too, his cadence and everything like that. The only difference, he's not as rough as Koi. I'm not saying anything bad about Coy being rough. That was part of the intrigue we had about Coy. But he's not. He's a little bit more timidly put together and more crafted than Coy. So it should be a fun dynamic. Very fun dynamic. He's a believer, so that'll help a lot. It'll be slowly skewing the way the show goes a little bit. So hey, look, I keep hearing that, but the more I find out about Denzel, the more I'm mad. I think if I shave, you might think differently. If I shaved, I won't look nearly like Denzel anymore. I'm telling you now, Denzel. It'll be at 6:30 Eastern today. Savage will be on at 6:30 Eastern, Rumble, and on YouTube, and X, and Facebook. Okay. Scrolling at the bottom, you know what to do, what not to do. You know who to talk to in either case. You talk to your father about all of it, and whatever he decides to you do it. Whether that be yay or nay, do it. Okay. Like I keep saying, if at all it does anything, is this: it brings you to talk to him. That's all. It brings you to talk to him. Too Strong has dropped a few videos. We have a one should have already dropped, or is about to drop here at 11 o'clock. It might upset a few of you. I want to warn you before we see it. It's supposed to drop in 2 minutes as a premiere, about an hour something long, a little bit less than an hour. And the correlation I made, I want people to understand that I did think long and hard about this correlation and this connection. And I do believe in the connection I made. But I said it might upset some of you because it includes people, one person in particular, who conservatives believe is a good person in the cause. But I have questions about them, major questions about them. And you'll understand why if you listen to the video. Okay. It is called The Connection Between Jag Wright, General Flynn, and the Vatican. Literally those three. You'll understand what I mean. Okay. But don't get too mad at me. Just listen and see if it makes any sense to you. Okay. It's about to kick off. Hopefully you guys will be there to watch it. Okay. Love y'all. Mean it. We'll catch y'all later today on Savage Patriots and tomorrow for another Straight Talk. Wisdom calls to you from the streets, so please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die.